Everyone, I'm real excited. We have Jamie Popper with Blue Nine here. We've known, Jamie and I have known each other for a few years now, actually. And here at Pet Tutor, we actually met the founder of Blue Nine, David Blake, when they were first getting started. So we've known a lot about these guys. They have a marvelous product. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of the KLIMB Table. We've been really excited about the great work. We run into each other at trade shows all the time. And so we've just started noodling, and Jamie honestly has so many questions. Well, if it could do this, if it could do that. And, you know, we talked about the advantages if we could remotely dispense reinforcement onto the KLIMB. So we've been working on that project for a while. And we have a really nice adapter now that fits very snugly into the corner of the KLIMB. And Jamie's been giving us some great feedback. Today, she's going to share some applications of how these two products play well together. So we're going to have Rue there in the background, and Rue is actually one of the reasons I have an Aussie. He is kind of the hero of the trade show circuit, but he's going to be our demo dog today. So, Jamie, I'll go ahead and turn this over to you so you can give everyone kind of an overview of what's going on and any other background you feel might be relevant.
Absolutely. Well, Wes, I love that you gave such a great recap. I still remember, you know, seeing the Pet Tutor available on Facebook and discovering that product for the first time, and, you know, thinking about like, oh my gosh, there's so many different applications. And then, you know, our friendship really started from that in wanting more out of the product and wanting to be able to beta test different versions and applications that you had available. And it was such a treat to meet you in person at the Association of Professional Dog Trainers conference in Dallas. Oh gosh, that was back in 2015. I feel like that's so long ago.
I know.
And that was also the time that I met Blue Nine Pet Products in person as well. And they're obviously the manufacturers of the KLIMB. And my goodness, like just what a journey it's been to progress from a professional dog trainer, teaching group classes, to now working for a pet product company like Blue Nine. And you're right, you know, we have the opportunity to see each other at trade shows when COVID-19 isn't happening. We have the opportunity to see each other at trade shows several times throughout the year. And gosh, it's always such a fun brainstorming session with you to like think about the applications from a dog training perspective, and then also knowing just a little bit about what it takes to manufacture a product and pitching those ideas to you and troubleshooting and all of that. And what a brilliant device that you've created, not just the Pet Tutor, but also the accessories that are available and how we use it with a KLIMB. So I'm really excited to be joining you for a conversation today and giving, you know, I appreciate the opportunity to share some of the ways that I've been able to use the products together.
Yeah, cool. We're really looking forward to that. So could you give us an idea of what you're going to go over today then, some of the demos, and then we can move right into that. And we're going to be taping this and showing it during the session, but we'll be asking, we'll give people an opportunity to ask questions during the actual showing of the video. But
awesome.
If you could give us an overview.
Perfect. So, you know, there's a million different ways to use the Pet Tutor, and there's a million ways to use the KLIMB dog training platform by Blue Nine as well. And what a beautiful marriage of the two products together. So you see Rue hanging out in the background right now on his KLIMB. He's got his Pet Tutor set up with that, with the adapter. And, you know, this is just one of the many ways that I use it. I'm on a conference call. I need my dog to be quiet and relaxed in the background. Rue has a great pleasure of being able to come to work with me every day. So, you know, those interruptions are just not welcomed. So anytime that I know that he's a little bit more antsy or needs something to do, I just set up the Pet Tutor and reward him for that nice calm behavior of hanging out on his KLIMB. But there's lots of other really neat ways to use it as well, not just for conference calls and relaxing. Some of the things that I'd like to show you guys today is how I've used it for doorbell behavior. So if you kind of think about it at home, what do your dogs do when the doorbell rings? And Wes, why don't you chime in? What do your dogs do when the doorbell rings or the doorbell?
Well, I've trained my dog to be crazy.
Yep.
So that's in case my doorbell fails. I've got a backup.
I love it. I love it. And, you know, having an Australian Shepherd, I get it. Our herding dogs are talkative, vocal, barky, and you know that's fine. But some of the other behaviors that a lot of people see is jumping up on the guests. It's a concern for our herding dogs too, with that over arousal that they might get nippy in that over arousal. So you know, we really want to train a replacement behavior, and so I use the KLIMB at my front door. I'm privileged enough to have a handful of them around my house, in my training studio, backyard, that sort of thing. But I do have one stationed right next to my front door, so that I have the opportunity. What are you supposed to be doing, sir? Rue, ready? Go climb. Yeah, he's like, I have eyes in the back of my head. Rue,
how did she
totally
do
looking
that?
at me like, how'd she know? Good point. So when the doorbell rings or somebody knocks on the door, I can send my dog to the KLIMB. He stays there when my guest is coming in the front door. It helps with a wide variety of different things, not just preventing my dog from jumping up on that guest, but it also provides a much better opportunity for the dog to be greeted. So if you think about, you know, average people maybe who are not dog lovers or dog owners, you know, they might come in and they might hover over top of the dog or bend over them to pet them, instead of greeting them in a way that might be a little bit safer, more comfortable for the dog. So by elevating the dog, it helps give shy dogs a little bit more confidence, and it helps get that greeting a little bit more appropriate as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that when I do a demo. Some of the other ways that I use it is for husbandry skills, so nail trims. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, I don't want to poison the cue of my dog hanging out on the KLIMB by doing something that they might find aversive, like a nail trim. Absolutely 100% agree with you. We want to be really careful that we don't do anything that the dog perceives as aversive when they're up on the KLIMB. But I've got a couple of tricks that I want to show you with that. I think we can get a little bit more of a cooperative behavior. And then finally, one of the things that I really enjoy teaching with the KLIMB and the pet tutor together is training an off switch. And by off switch, what I mean is finding ways to reinforce our dogs for that nice, calm behavior. I tell you what, so many people, when I was teaching group training classes, I'd have my dog hanging out on the KLIMB or in a crate with the door open, and they would always ask me, I want my dog to do that. And it was kind of a game I would play with them. I would ask them, well, what is it that you want your dog to do? Because how I label this behavior and how other people might label this behavior are completely different. And they said, I just want my dog to just lay down and not bother me. And I thought that was really interesting. They really just want to be able to have a dog loose in their home, to be able to relax and enjoy their company, but not have them, you know, taking 100 toys out of their toy box or asking to go be let outside, asking to be let in, stealing food off of the countertops, just being a busybody. They want a way of being able to tell their dogs, take a break, take a nap, lay down, chill out. It's time to cuddle on the couch, that sort of thing. So I thought that that was really interesting. So we'll talk a little bit about an off switch as well. Any questions about those three topics, or did I miss anything?
Oh, those are great. And I think it's really cool that you have subtly already, from the very beginning, been demoing. And so if you haven't noticed, every once in a while, Jamie will tap the app that's running on her phone to deliver a treat. And she's periodically randomly reinforcing Rue, which is behind her. You can do that automatically too, but she's just, you know, she's an excellent trainer, so she's got a good sense of when to randomly reinforce. So she's just doing that, so he keeps busy behind her. So we've actually been doing a demo from the very beginning. So I like the way you led right into that, Jamie.
I love that. And actually, I think maybe one of the first things that we'll talk about, because this is a perfect way to demo it as well, is that off switch training. And so to talk a little bit about that, what an off switch, basically what we're doing is we're reinforcing our dog for calm or calmer behaviors. And so what becomes a challenge for some trainers when they're doing this is they'll see different behaviors and they'll start to reward them thinking that they're relaxation. So, you know, what I look for when I'm trying to train that off switch is I want to reward for behaviors that look like relaxation. So deep sighs, laying down, rolling onto one hip, putting their head down, all of those behaviors. I also want to reinforce increasing duration of that relaxed behavior. So let me do just a quick set change so that you guys can kind of see that. All right. So I chose to come over here so that I can demonstrate this a little bit more and start to work with Rue a little bit more closely as well. One of the downfalls of training this off switch behavior, one of the hiccups that beginner level trainers kind of hit, and even myself, I've hit this a few times, is that we get into a routine of rewarding specific behaviors, okay? So if you guys just notice, Rue rested his nose down on the pet tutor bowl, his chin down on that, so I'm gonna reinforce that. So some of the hiccups we fall into, reinforcing specific behaviors and reinforcing at set increments. And the pet tutor solves this for me because inside of the app, there is a way to set a random increment interval, and you can also increase that duration. So I'm gonna try and explain this in a way that I understand, but Wes, if I say anything incorrect, please jump in. But inside of the app, there's a way that I can say, I want you to dispense a treat anywhere between 5 and 45 seconds, and I can set those increments. I can change it over time. I can change it to every 10 and 60 seconds, or 30 seconds and 90 seconds, anywhere in between that. And so it starts to become randomized. Whereas with us, humans, well, you know, we try to be random. We'll say, okay, I'm gonna count to 10 and I give a treat, or count to 11 and give a treat, and count to 12 and give a treat. That's also how our brains work. We always want to add duration to something. And so we just keep making it harder and harder and harder. And that's the first step that we jump to when we want to start adding duration. And we have a really hard time, or at least I did, have a really hard time of toggling back and forth. So maybe I'll ask for 10 seconds and then I'll only ask for 5 seconds. The pet tutor takes the guesswork out of that. So I can just set him up for that. And now I'm not making those mistakes of reinforcing every 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and so on seconds. So I'm not making it harder with each reinforcement interval. Now, the second problem that I see a lot of people falling into is that they reinforce specific behaviors too often. So Rue just put his chin down. I think that's a sign that he's relaxed. So I'm likely, if I was the one that was doing the dispensing, I'm likely to reinforce him for that. However, there's a lot of dogs that will get into this mode where they realize it. If I put my chin down, then I'll get a treat. Or if I roll onto one hip, then I'll get a treat. And so what I've kind of realized is that if I focus most on adding duration to staying on a platform with a pet tutor, that calm relaxation happens anyway, as long as there's not something super stimulating going on in the environment. So when I was a little bit further away from Rue, he was in a setup or a mindset that we're probably going to be doing something fun. So he was a little bit more antsy. But if I had given him another 10, 15 minutes of just that, he likely would have laid down and taken a nap just like this. By telling him, hey, it's time for you to relax and settle, I'm not going to be doing much with you right now, telling him to lay down, that instantly put him into more of that off switch mode, which is I'm just going to take a nap over here. And
yeah, so, Jamie, I just had you made a really good point there. When you were further away and now we can see that you're kind of starting to inch away, someone might have said, well, you could just hand deliver the treat when you were closer to the climb, which is true. But now we're going to start to change another element of the criteria for the training, which is your position and distance. And now it would be a lot harder to deliver the treat. You'd have to walk back to the climb, but now you can take advantage of the remote capability.
Absolutely. And so one of the things, since I don't have it set on the automatic dispense right now, one of the things that I'm going to wait for in this training is for a little bit more of those relaxed behaviors, that head down, that sort of thing. And so I'll give you guys a real quick example too. So Rue knows this setup. I'm going to relax. I'm going to eat cookies from this. This is my time to take a nap. Because he's such a seasoned dog, we can do this in the house too without the pet tutor because we've done this training. But what a lot of people will have trouble with without that remote treat dispenser is now if I come over here, and actually, if I come over here to reinforce him, I'll let him finish those. If I come over here to reinforce him, then I'm likely to get a little bit more excitement behaviors. I'm getting alert eyes. I'm getting alert ears. He's like, well, what do you want for me to be, I want to work. How do I earn the treat that you're about to give me? That sort of thing. And so, a lot of dogs that aren't as seasoned in this behavior would jump up and start asking for work, asking to be cued to do a specific behavior, rather than just saying, oh, it's time to kind of relax right now. So kind of just to recap, off-switch behavior training can be a challenge to train, even if you're a skilled trainer, because we fall into two bad habits. One is we reinforce at set increments, and we typically make it more challenging with each reinforcement. The pet tutor helps me eliminate that problem by being able to do those automatic intervals anywhere between 5 and 45 seconds or 30 and 90 seconds, whatever I set. The other problem that we fall into whenever we're trying to teach this off-switch behavior is we end up just reinforcing behaviors that look like relaxation rather than looking for true signs of relaxations like deep sighs, soft eyes, floppy ears. Rue's blinking right now. So those are behaviors that I want to reinforce. Now, the pet tutor obviously can't see whether or not my dog is taking deep breaths or blinking his eyes just yet. But if I focus purely on just adding duration to that behavior, over time, he is going to settle into that off-switch behavior. And this dog right now looks like he's about ready to take a nap. I wish you guys could see close up. His eyes are drifting down. It's awesome, and that's what people want. He's like, no, there's something else going on now. Yeah. So that's a little bit about off-switch training. And you're right, being able to remotely reinforce this, being much further away, adding in these distractions of being able to walk around the room, sweep and mop the floor, that sort of thing, being able to just set it and forget it is also really a highlight of this. Now, just a comment really quick too on the KLIMB being used for this. By using the KLIMB, I create a defined space for the dog to stay on as well. So by elevating them up off the floor, it makes it really easy for him to understand, okay, this is my spot, I'm taking a nap, this is what I'm doing, versus, there's a lot of other reinforcement he could find in this room if the criteria was, you can wander the room and just go to the pet tutor anytime that a treat is dispensed. By saying, hey, the criteria is stay on this thing, the KLIMB, you'll get reinforced for staying there. Good boy. Oh, good scratches. You'll get reinforced for staying there. That helps make it a lot more, comfortable for him as well. So a little bit more black and white, isn't it, bud? Any questions on the off-switch stuff before we maybe work a little bit on some husbandry skills? Oh,
that was excellent. And that the point when you walked up, it was really clear. His behavior changed as you approached. So I think being able to get the trainer out of the picture when you want to. Sometimes you want the trainer in, sometimes you want the trainer out of the context that's maybe stimulating for the dog. So I think that was really good. We could see his, at least I noticed it, his breathing rate was starting to slow. And yes. He was slower, deeper breaths. He was really about to doze off, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I think
great
so
job.
Too. Thank you. You're such a smart little monkey. Well, I've been meaning to trim Rue's feet, his nails, for, I don't know, a couple of weeks now. And actually, I was saving them for when I could do a demonstration with it. So this is perfect. I'd love to do a demonstration with you guys. It's perfect timing to be able to show you a little bit about how we use the pet tutor for this as well.
Good. Now, just make a point, too, while you're getting set up. You notice that Jamie hand-tossed a treat. And I think, to make a point, some people think, well, I've either got a treat by hand or I've got a treat from the pet tutor. I think you can really get creative when you can do both. You know, she wanted to reset him, get him off the table, so she hand tossed a treat. And there's no reason in the same training session you can't mix it up. Sometimes it comes from the feeder, and sometimes it comes from the hand.
Yeah. So while Wes was just explaining that, I set up my Pet Tutor app on my phone. I set up my Pet Tutor app on my phone to dispense treats every 10 to 20 seconds. So this nail trimming process takes 2 hands, one to hold the foot and one to trim the nails. Go ahead. So what I'm going to be doing is actually combining a couple of different things. One is I'm going to I want the opportunity to be able to hit that feed button here so that I can reinforce anytime that I want, but it's still going to stay in that random reinforcement schedule of anywhere from 10 to 20 seconds, which is all I need when I'm working on him and trimming his nails. So the other part of this, when it comes to cooperative care, is if for any reason Rue gets uncomfortable with the training process, he 100% has permission to get off of the KLIMB tables. And that's my cue to pause and to give him the break that he needs. So if he's really uncomfortable with it, it's kind of like Chirag Patel's bucket game. If you're up on the KLIMB, it means I can do the stuff, the potentially aversive stuff to you. And if you choose to get off of the KLIMB, then I'll stop doing the potentially aversive stuff. I can speed this up by using the Pet Tutor to automatically reinforce him while I'm doing the potentially aversive stuff of nail trimming. And by using the KLIMBs, I'm making that choice for my dog. You okay, bud? This is live training. By using the KLIMB tables, I'm making that choice for him very apparent. So some people, you know, if I gently grab Rue's foot right here, if he chooses to, you know, like yank it away, some people might say, oh, he's just off balance, you know, I'm going to keep holding on to it. And then that's like muddy criteria. So, you know, if he finds this to be aversive, he'll jump off of the KLIMB tables and he has permission to do that. If I hold on to his foot and he finds that aversive, or if he finds that it's off balance, you know, I know my dog and I can kind of work on that a little bit with him as well. So we'll probably just do his back feet for our demonstration today, but I want to show you guys how this looks. So I'm going to let him know that, you know, he can face that way for his treats. And I've also got the opportunity to hit this feed button if I need to throw in extra reinforcement. I can grab his foot, trim his nail. If I want to give him an extra treat the first couple of times that I'm doing his nails, then I can do that as well. I'll hit that feed button. So he's still getting the random reinforcement too, because I set it up for that. So I did the first couple of nails. Good job. And he's focused on getting his treats. He's not too worried about the nail trimming process back here. Maybe there he didn't like that one as much. I felt him pull his foot away. If he wants, he can take a break. That's his choice. He could get off the KLIMB. I think he's finding the reinforcement from the Pet Tutor to be valuable enough. But we'll let him know if he wants to take a break, that's fine. I won't do it. I won't do it anymore.
Yeah, I think that's just a real fundamental point in any care, whether it's grooming or veterinary care, to give the animal choice. That's a very powerful notion that's making its way into the training world. Chirag Patel is the first one that I saw that Jamie had mentioned that really focused on choice.
Yes. All right. Couple more.
You can see. Yeah, so while she's trimming there, you know, she's using the app, and just to mention, we do have the smart clicker, which has a tilt mode, and you can put that on your shoe or leg or arm or something, so that if you wiggle your foot, it'll trigger the feeder. So if your hands are busy, like in nail trimming or other grooming, you can actually do it hands-free if you wanted to do it that way.
Yeah, such amazing applications and, you know, really lots of different ways that you can set that up. Rue is also going through shedding season right now. Our spring and summer was a little late here in Iowa, so he's full on shedding mode right now. So it's picking pieces of hair out of my eyelashes. But I also use this cooperative care technique when I'm doing bathing as well. So during the summer months it is warm enough outside, I just stack 2 of these on top of each other, and I'll bathe him outside and blow dry him. Same thing, if he's, not enjoying the experience, needs a break, he knows that he can get off of the climb, and I'll give him the break that he's asking for.
Perfect.
You are so smart.
That was great. That was a great demo.
Thank you. So I guess one of the last things that we'll talk about or demonstrate is understanding a little bit about how I might use the KLIMB and the pet tutor for issues at the front door. So I said that I have my KLIMB right next to my front door. It works for me. We've spent several years working on training that behavior of go to your KLIMB and stay there when the door opens. Some dogs, however, would benefit from having a greater distance from the door. So when we talk a little bit about different different levels of difficulty, say that 6 times fast, different levels such as distance, duration, and distractions, dependent on the dog and the situation, those levels of difficulty will be challenging in one way or another. So my Velcro dog, he absolutely loves me. He wants to be stuck to me. Distance is a really hard distraction for us to work on versus, a person that's coming in the front door. He's not afraid of the people that are coming in the door, so we don't have as much challenge with that. So one thing that I wanted to note was that if you do have a dog that is potentially afraid of the person that's coming in the front door, or maybe you don't want to set your KLIMB right next to the front door, it becomes really challenging to reinforce your dog during that process unless you're using a remote reinforcer. So that's just another way to use the pet tutor in that sense. So it's pretty easy setup. Doorbell rings, I get my pet tutor turned on, connect to the app as I'm walking to the door, and I can reinforce my dog while I'm at the door and with that distance away from them. And so they've got something that they're being reinforced for when I'm far away. So I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to see if that red door is unlocked on this side. And then I'll demonstrate. So this red door actually goes into a bathroom, but it's a good one to experiment with. Let me check real quick. Nope, it's locked, but that's okay. I'm going to use it anyway. I just won't be able to open it. So when we start adding in levels of different distractions for our dogs, some of the different distractions that we deal with are noise distractions. Okay, and then being able to reinforce our dog for that. So I love being able to have enough distance that I can actually go to a door rather than just knocking on the wall. I can go to that door, knock on it, and deliver a reinforcer with having that distance from my dog. In other applications, what it would look like would be knocking on the door, walking back over to my dog, reinforcing from my treat pouch, and then going back to the door and being able to do that. And I'll demonstrate why that can sometimes be a challenge. Are you going to be perfect now? I was thinking that if I delayed my reinforcement enough that he would bark, which he does.
I was going to ask you what you do if there was a bark. Yeah.
Good boy. You're so smart. Honestly, if it's crazy, irritating barking, then I'll interrupt and redirect and restart the training session. So I'll ask for an easy reinforceable behavior like a nose touch or a sit or a down. I'll reinforce that behavior and then start over. If it's 1 or 2 little barks while I'm doing this knocking, my criteria is whatever. Let me know that there's a person at the door, but stop when you get your reinforcer for that behavior. 1 or 2 barks is fine. And then if I've given you a cookie, there's no need to bark again. And if you bark again, you're gonna have some troubles.
Oh, that's perfect. A lot of pet owners want, but I want my dog to bark. I want people to know that I've got a dog in here, or it helps me know that somebody's at the door. I don't want them to stop barking. So I think that makes a great point that once they stop, then the reward comes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. So that's just a little bit of some of the applications. Again, using a KLIMB table at the front door, what that does is it creates a defined space for the dog to go to, instead of, just asking for an arbitrary sit stay. So an example of this, just real quick with Rue, to kind of put it into perspective, if I ask my dog to sit and stay right here, what does he have to do in order to be wrong? He just has to take 2 steps forward. And that's a pretty easy decision to make. He takes 2 steps forward. Whereas if I tell him to go to his KLIMB, and then I put some sort of distraction out there, then, what's the decision or choice point that he has to make in order to go to that distraction? Well, he has to jump 12 inches down. And so it's really black and white. Freak, get it?
Oh, yeah. So, excellent.
You saw him hesitate. Even when I went to go and put the treat down, you saw him hesitate more. We haven't played that game in a while. And he had his 2 front feet off, realized, oof, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing right here. And so he fixed it himself. Freak, get it? Yeah,
another great example of how you can mix hand-delivered and from the pet tutor at the same time. So she could have rewarded on the KLIMB or from the floor, or both, kind of mix it up from one trial to the next.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been just so pivotal for being able to add distance, duration, and distractions and being further away. Yeah. Duration specifically, I struggled with that as a trainer, to add duration to anything, because I always got stuck in that trap of wanting to increase the duration 1 second at a time, to always making it harder and harder and harder for my dog. The pet tutor took the guesswork out of that one for me.
Well, that was an awesome set of examples there. And like I said earlier, it's not one way or another. You can obviously use the KLIMB very effectively without the pet tutor. The pet tutor for other things, but when you put them together, there's a very nice synergy. That's something that I really enjoy, trying to find synergy, things that work. It's kind of the thing where you add 1 + 1, you get 2. You get a much greater advantage. Obviously, being able to do out of sight work is key. And being able to deliver from alternative locations is key too, that you can really mix up where the treat delivery is coming from, so you can focus on the behavior itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So many different ways to combine the products together. And Rue is letting me know that he would like to come and hang out. Rhubarb, can you lay down at my feet then?
Now, I'll mention something else that I've seen some other people do, and Jamie, if you have any comments, please chime in. But the way Jamie's got the pet tutor set up with the KLIMB adapter below, it's got the little bowl, and then it attaches with the leg. Those legs are very solid, and there's a screw that screws up in and holds it. But if you don't tighten it down, you can rotate that anywhere along and actually put the bowl so it's off of the KLIMB, so you can use the KLIMB as sort of an elevated delivery of the bowl. And I've seen people use that for grooming as well. So they'll put the pet tutor on the KLIMB to elevate it so that it's at nose level while someone's doing grooming work. So Jamie demonstrated grooming on the table, but you can still use the table with the dog off the table to do some grooming.
Yeah. That's a great point. There's lots of different ways and configurations you can use it. One other one that I've used it for is I can set 3 KLIMBs on top of each other and then set the pet tutor on it so that it has the shoot dispenser. So it shoots the treats out all over the floor in my training room. And what that does is it just creates a spot that the dog has to search around and find for the kibbles that have fallen. So they get a little bit more mental enrichment with that, slows down the process of them eating their food, keeps them busy for a little bit. I'm all about finding new ways to get my dog mental enrichment and exercise without having to do anything except for press a couple of buttons, especially when it comes to our herding dogs, because Man, they're smarter than, just too smart for their own good.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah. 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 So there are a number of different types of games that you can use, and exercise activities you can use the climb for, and you could incorporate the pet tutor into that as well. So the dog's playing a game and getting a workout on the climb, climbing up the tables and back down the table, you know, kind of like a stairway. So they've got to go up to the top of the stairs to get the treat, and then come down off the stairs. You can put the smart clicker in tilt mode and put it in a toy. The dog touches it and then has to run up the climb to get the treat.
Yeah, lots of different ways, for sure. And, you know, for our professional dog trainers out there too, just thinking about some of the different applications. When I was teaching group training classes, I always loved to have my dog available to quickly demonstrate something. And if I had to go to a crate, uncover the crate, open the door, let my dog out, perform the behavior or demonstration that I was looking for, put him back in the kennel, close the door, you know, cover the crate back up. You know, that was the struggle that I was having. The other problem I was having was that he was screaming in his kennel because he wanted to come out. And so by giving him a little bit more choice, by putting him on the platform and having that ability to reinforce him even while I was teaching, was what made the difference in Rue's ability to come to work or not come to work with me when I was teaching classes.
Wow.
So, you know, that was the first way that I used it, and it just made a world of difference for us.
Great. Do you guys have any, now we, both of our companies, the Smart Animal Training Systems that makes Pet Tutor and Blue 9, we have other products. Are there any other products that you guys have in the works that you want to talk about now? I don't want to put you on the spot. We didn't talk about this ahead of time, but just curious, you guys are always coming up with new stuff or new things, anything in the works there?
Yeah, not a problem. That's a great question. Well, anyone who's interested in learning more about Blue 9 pet products or the Climb, they can go to blue-9.com. And we do have a fully fledged Learn section that has a ton of different videos and training guides. We do have a handful of other products available there as well. We have the Balance Harness, which is a front attachment, no pull harness that is safe for dogs to wear. And then some of our newer products include our Inspire Dog Training Treat Pouch, which I'm wearing and using, and our new dog training treat line, the Inspire Dog Training Treats, which are small, soft, round, super palatable. You can break them into smaller pieces, but they're already pretty small as it is. And they work really well in the pet tutor from my experience as well. They never get stuck or anything, which is just the hallmark of pet tutor. Nothing gets stuck in that thing.
Thanks. And you're demoing today with the climb tables that come in their original form, but I know you guys have a mat now. You just recently, not too long ago, have an optional mat that people can add to it.
Yeah. So our mat that we have is our rubber traction mat. And we released that just a couple of months ago. It sits on top of the Climb, any Climb that you might already have. It adds a little bit more traction to the table, which is great for any high speed, high energy activities, or for dogs that are doing canine fitness and rehabilitation exercises, that sort of thing as well.
Cool. Yeah, and I did get a chance to try it when you first showed that to me, Jamie, so to make sure that the Climb adapter would fit. So if you put the mat on there, they still work just the way you've seen it today. So there's no interference between the mat and the pet tutor. They still fit together and work the same.
Perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. In case anyone's curious, I do just have like a dog bed that's up on top of the Climbs. When I'm planning on having Rue relax and just take a nap, I like to put something soft and cushy on it. Not because the Climbs are uncomfortable on their own, but because it becomes a discriminative stimulus for him. If the mat is there, it's time to take a nap. If the bed is there, it's time to take a nap. And then if it's just the regular, Climb surface, then it's likely that we're going to be doing a training session. And so that kind of gives them a mindset during that as well.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, great. Well, I think that's all I had on my end, unless you have anything else that you'd like to add. It's been a great session.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you giving us the opportunity to share a little bit about how we use the two products together.
Yeah.
And I hope your live event goes well. If anyone has any questions that would like to send my way, I'd be more than happy to answer them. We'll be pretty busy the same day that you're having your live event, so it's just such a blessing to be able to pre-record this and make the information available to the people who are attending your event as well. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, look, I look forward to the next conference that we can see each other live, face to face. That's coming.
Me too.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jamie. So we'll be signing off, but look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Wow, a great presentation by Jamie. And I just want to start off saying big thanks to our presenters today. We're really fortunate to have such great friends in the dog training world. Deb Jones, Dr. Deb Jones with Cooperative Care, and the world-renowned Susan Garrett on all variety of dog sports. She just did a fantastic job. We could go on, we could have a several-hour workshop with these folks. And Jamie Popper with Blue 9, the Blue 9 KLIMB product has just really taken the dog world by storm. It's a very, very popular product. Anytime we go to a trade show, we see people walking out with carloads of the KLIMB table. So we know it's a real popular product, and we really enjoy working with the people at KLIMB. They've been friends of ours for a long time, and we're just really excited that we could find a way to have the two products have some synergy together. You heard that discussion earlier today with Susan. She was talking about using the KLIMBs, and I noticed that she needed a pet tutor KLIMB adapter, so one may appear, I don't know. She wants to be able to put her pet tutor on her KLIMB, but those are available separately in the store if you guys want to purchase one of those. We're just going to wrap up here. We don't have a whole lot to say, but answer any questions. Yeah, I see people saying, I love my KLIMB. Thank you very much. Oh, we did have a question about the pup pod and the Kong wobbler, and I didn't really get a chance to get into that in much detail, but it can be confusing because they look really similar. The difference is on the motion portion where the dog touches the wobbler, the pup pod folks actually put into the unit the electronics. They glued the electronics into a regular Kong wobbler. So it's really a self-contained unit. The difference then with the other approach you can take where the dog touches it and triggers is to take any standard Kong wobbler or another toy and put the smart clicker in it. Now for gameplay, the big difference between the two is at the basic level, they work the same. So the dog touches it, it triggers the feeder. For the pup pod though, it starts to play tones and it becomes a more complicated game. So if you want a little more game action, you can get that from the pup pod, but you cannot remotely trigger it. That's what you get from the smart clicker, and you can put the smart clicker in other toys. So that's kind of the distinction. You can get a little more advanced gameplay with the pup pod, but you can have more versatility with the smart clicker. Am I getting that right?
Yes,
Amanda?
and the other differentiation is that the pup pod has its own app.
Ah, yes. Yep.
And that they, so your settings and different things take place, and they have their own app for that particular toy.
Yep. Right. And that could be a little, we're two separate companies. Again, our philosophy is, there's a lot that we want to get accomplished in the dog training world. And that's why we've made Pet Tutor open. So third parties, other people can make products that are compatible with the Pet Tutor. Just like we mentioned earlier, the Train Away app, which is still in beta testing. It's not available in the store. The version that works with the Pet Tutor is coming. It's in beta tests now. I don't know if they're still taking beta testers. If you're really interested in that, we could try to hook you up. But that should be coming into, I think it's in the iOS store first, and then it'll be coming to Android. So that's Pup Pod versus it's built into a standard Kong wobbler, but it's built into the unit. With the smart clicker, you can use it with any Kong wobbler or other toy. Let's see. Thank you so much. Climbs. All right. Thanks, Wes and Amanda. And big thanks to behind the scenes, Nick and Bill. Big appreciation for you guys. Well, wait a minute. Let's bring the whole team. So these are the sages behind the stages. Come here. Hey, Holden. Holden, look. So there he is. There's the famous Holden. So thanks, everybody, for coming. We really appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Bless. Take care.